You hid the $300,000 from me. So I gratefully used that money to buy a house. One day, without telling me, my mother-in-law, Susan, bought a house. Enraged, I consulted my husband about it.
Well, just let Mom do what she wants. Forget about the $300,000.
He sided with his mom. I couldn't forgive such a thing. I vowed to take revenge on both of them. My name is Emily. 5 years ago, I married Tom, who works at the same food company as me. Our jobs keeps us busy, so we rarely have time to spend together. Still, we get along well without any issues. However, I don't have a good relationship with Susan. It's because of what she said when we went to greet her family before our marriage. Of course, when you marry Tom, you'll quit your job and support him at home, right? No, I want to continue working even after getting married. Tom also said it's okay for me to work. What? Normally, when you get married, the wife stays home to support her husband. I also quit my job and became a housewife when I married my late husband. The idea that a wife should stay home and let the husband earn money is so old-fashioned. I thought that, but I couldn't say it to her face, so I just smiled awkwardly. Is Tom really okay with you continuing to work? If he's tired from work every day and you're not at home, it'll be a burden on him.
That's your opinion, Mom. I'm fine with it. Let Emily do what she wants.
With my husband stopping her, she didn't say anything more, and we left his family's house. Thanks for today. If you hadn't stopped her, she would have said more mean things.
Since Dad died, she's been raising me alone. She's probably just worried. Don't think too much about it.
He protects and cares for me. I'm lucky to have married such a wonderful person. On our way back to our apartment, I secretly felt happy. We lived happily for 5 years after our marriage. Then one day, my husband asked if his mom could live with us.
Hey, since we both leave the house often for work, why don't we let Mom live with us in this apartment?
What? To be honest, that idea doesn't sit right with me.
I see. Sorry for saying something weird all of a sudden. Just forget it.
It was too sudden for me to agree to. My husband backed down easily, and I was relieved that we wouldn't be living together. A week after my husband asked me to live with his mom, I came home around 9 p.m. after a very busy day at work. I'm so tired. I guess I should make dinner. As I talked to myself and tried to unlock the door, I found it was already unlocked. My husband must have come home early. He usually lets me know when he's on his way home, but he must have forgotten this time. I didn't think much of the unlocked door and went inside. I'm home. Oh, you're finally back. Oh, Susan, you're here? Where's Tom? Tom isn't home yet. He gave me a spare key, so I let myself in. What does she mean? He gave her a spare key? I hadn't heard anything about this. Shocked by her sudden appearance, I stood frozen in place. Don't just stand there. Can you make dinner? I've been waiting for you to come home. What? You haven't had dinner yet? No, I haven't. She just let herself into our home and expects me to make her dinner? I couldn't believe how bold she was, but I couldn't just turn her away. All right, I understand. I can only make something simple, though. Wait a minute. Isn't there less food in the fridge? Did I really use that much? The fridge seemed emptier than it was yesterday. Something simple is fine. Just hurry up. I'm starving. Please wait a moment. I'll make something right away. I quickly made dinner and served it to Susan. Thank you. I'll eat now. She took a sip of the chicken soup I made and said, Ugh, what is this? It's awful. Sorry, what? Did she just say my chicken soup was terrible? I said it's awful. Didn't you hear me? So I heard right. You can only make food like this because you're always working. Quit your job and take care of the house. But Tom says he likes my cooking. He's just being polite. Don't you understand that? It seems Susan really hates the fact that I continue working after getting married. For about an hour, she kept making snide remarks at me. I'll be coming here often from now on. Make sure you take care of the house. Susan left my house, looking quite pleased after venting her frustrations. 30 minutes later, my husband came home. Hey, did you give your mom a spare key?
Yeah, I did.
She was here today out of the blue, and after I made her dinner, she said it was awful.
Well, it's no big deal. Sometimes things like that happen.
What do you mean, no big deal? She showed up unannounced and insulted my cooking. You expect me to just tolerate that? This all happened because you gave her a spare key. When I said that, my husband got angry and retorted.
You should have agreed to live with her. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I don't need dinner.
So you're saying it's my fault? You're the one who said you understood back then. His words shattered my heart. The next day and the day after that, the same thing happened. This place is a mess. You haven't been cleaning properly, have you? And these wrinkled clothes. It's disgraceful. Every day, Susan would come to our house and complain. If it was just that, I might have been able to endure it. But a week after she started frequenting our home, I noticed something strange. The food is disappearing again. And the detergent I stocked up is gone too. The distance between our apartment and my in-laws' house is a 10-minute walk, and it's obvious that food and supplies were disappearing daily. I didn't want to suspect Susan, but it had to be her taking things without permission. Susan, you haven't been taking our groceries and supplies, have you? One day when she came over, I mustered the courage to ask. I hoped I was wrong. But, oh, you've caught on already, she confessed without hesitation. It's a problem if you take things without asking. These are our household supplies and groceries. It's my son's house, so what's the harm in taking a little? Since you're always at work, it's a waste to leave the food unused. How could she say such things without a hint of guilt? I understand that it's technically her son's house, but... Oh, by the way, I found out you have $300,000 in savings. I used it to buy a new house. What? What are you talking about? Don't pretend you don't know. I saw your bank book and I was surprised at how much was in there. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She used my $300,000 savings to buy a house without anyone's permission? But you can't withdraw money with just the bank book. Do you know the PIN? You left a note with the PIN in the bank book. Oh no. I never thought anyone would look at my bank book, so I was careless. I did leave a note with a PIN to avoid forgetting it. I've always wanted to live in a better house. That was perfect timing. She left my house laughing loudly. This is unforgivable, using someone else's money without permission. I told my husband that his mother used my money to buy a house, but he just said,
Let Mom do what she wants. Forget about the $300,000.
As if it was someone else's problem. Using such a large amount of money without permission and then telling me to just let it go? There's something wrong with this family. At that moment, I lost all affection for my husband. I couldn't stand being taken advantage of any longer. I decided to take revenge on both of them. The next day, I invited Susan to our house to confirm if she really bought the house. Before talking to her, I discreetly turned on the voice recorder on my phone to gather evidence. Yesterday, you said you used $300,000 from my bank account to buy a new house. Is that true? Yes, it's true. I already paid the down payment and construction is underway. I've got the bank book, so it's basically a done deal. But how did you even get the bank book? She grinned and showed me the bank book. How? I just took it, of course. You took the bank book? Susan, that's called stealing. Say what you want. I really had no idea you had saved that much money, especially since you're not great at doing chores. But hey, at least you're good at something. Oh, that's enough. You can have the bank book. Thank you for coming today. I wanted to punch her and take back my things, but I held back and sent her away. I had enough evidence that she took the bank book from our house. Susan, enjoy your victory while you can. The next day, I called her again to retrieve what she had taken. Susan, you can have the bank book, but you need my ID to withdraw the money. Can you give me the bank book so I can do it for you? Oh, I didn't know that. I'll bring them over now. I told her this on the phone, but of course I had no intention of withdrawing the money. There's no way anyone can withdraw such a large amount without a proper ID these days. How naive can she be? She was so focused on the money that she didn't realize her actions were criminal. After retrieving the bank book from her, I went straight to the police.
How can I help you? Is there an incident?
Yes, my mother-in-law took my bank book without permission and tried to use it to buy a new house.
What? You mean you didn't buy the house?
No, I didn't. My bank book was stolen. I'd like to file a theft report. The police, realizing the seriousness of the situation, listened to my story carefully and accepted my report. That night, I told my husband that I had filed a report with the police. I reported to the police that your mom stole my bank book. She might get arrested soon.
What? Why would the police arrest my mom?
Don't you get it? What your mom did is a serious crime.
You didn't have to go to the police.
Telling you would just make you say, let mom do what she wants. Why should I hand over such a large amount of money to that old woman?
How dare you call my mom an old woman?
Just because she's my mother-in-law, does that mean she can do anything she wants? Should I just stay silent if she tries to kill me? That's just ridiculous. I didn't save up all that money just to give it to Susan. She is a damn old woman.
Enough.
My husband stormed into his room. He returned to the living room holding a divorce paper.
I never thought you'd say such things. Sign this.
I didn't expect him to carry that around all the time. Well, if that's how he feels, so be it. I was already fed up with him. Is this supposed to be a threat? Fine, give it to me and I'll sign it. My husband looked a bit surprised that I agreed so readily. After signing, I showed him the paper. Here, is this what you wanted?
Yeah.
I'll go submit this myself. He didn't want to see me any longer. After that, he rushed out of the house in the middle of the night. He probably went to his mom's place. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Hello, what do you want? It was my husband calling.
I told Mom that you reported her to the police.
So?
Can you withdraw the report?
No, impossible. There's no way I'm withdrawing the report. Reflecting, even if she pretends to be remorseful, I won't forgive her. She'll just do it again. Then my husband called again. What is it? I was about to go to bed since there's nothing left to discuss. It wasn't my husband, but Susan. I'm sorry. I didn't mean any harm. Crying and apologizing won't make me forgive you. How can you say it wasn't intentional when you stole my bank book? I just wanted a house. We've lived in an apartment all our lives. So you thought it was okay to use someone else's money for that? You're really something. Why should I give money to you for such a trivial reason? It's beyond comprehension. You should have asked your son instead. My son doesn't have any money. Yes, I know. Even though we're both working, I manage the household finances. That's why when I saw the $300,000 in your account, I was tempted. I see, but you understand that this isn't something that can be resolved with an I'm sorry, right? You can reflect on this in prison. That money was what I worked hard to save before I married your son. There's no way I can forgive you for using such important money on a whim. As I was about to hang up, she desperately tried to keep talking. Wait, I have a request. You still have the nerve to ask for a favor? Ugh, that's bold. I paid a down payment of $100,000 I've saved for years, and the construction can't be stopped now. Please, can you lend me the $300,000? I'll definitely pay you back. Are you out of your mind? I'm not going to lend you any money. If you're stealing things, you won't return what you borrow. What? Then what should I do? That's not my problem. Handle it yourself. But I can't take out a loan at my age. That's your own fault. Relying on someone else's money is why you're in this mess. Ask your son to take out a loan. Just imagining her panicking made me laugh. I had said all I needed to and was ready to hang up. but my husband intervened, trying to continue the conversation.
Please, don't abandon my mom like that. Don't you think you should chip in a bit for her too? Can't you help out a little, even if not the whole thing?
What do I even owe her? She never did anything for me. She came over every day insulting me and didn't even help with the housework. What are you talking about? My husband fell silent. He must have said that in desperation, hoping for some sympathy. But it didn't work. Well, that's how it is. I'm not helping. Good luck.
Wait, we'll handle everything, and you won't be bothered anymore. Can we at least not get divorced?
It's too late. You always sided with your mom over me. You never stood up for me.
I'm truly sorry. I'll treat you better from now on.
You don't need to treat me well anymore. We're about to be strangers. Enjoy your time with your beloved mom. I hung up the phone. Expecting more calls, I turned off my phone and went to sleep. My husband didn't come home that night. He was probably consoling his mom. The next morning, I took the day off and submitted the divorce papers. From then on, we were strangers. I didn't care what happened to Susan. For the next 3 days before I moved out, my husband barely spoke to me. Of course, I didn't talk to him either. After moving out, I planned to stay at my parents' house. It was an hour's commute to work, but manageable. When I left, my husband said,
I'm sorry for everything.
I ignored him and walked away. It was an abrupt end to a love that seemed so strong before marriage. But I felt no sadness. In fact, I felt relieved to be free of such a toxic family. There's no way I'd ever forgive them. Tom ignored me and kept siding with his mom. That's why things turned out this way. If he had seriously scolded her when she stole the bank book and bought the house, I might have reconsidered. His mom and Tom underestimated me too much. I won't let them get away with it. Now, they'll face a hellish mortgage, so they better work their butts off. It's what his mom wanted, so she should be able to handle it. Both of them deserve it. Serves them right. I thought about this while driving to my parents' house. A week later, the police called to say they had arrested Tom's mom on theft charges. The fact that she didn't live with us was the key to her arrest.
If she had been living with you, we might not have been able to arrest her due to the family theft exemption.
I see. I'm glad you arrested her. I thanked the police and hung up. Now, she would have to reflect on her crimes in prison. Just as I thought that, Tom called.
Hello. My mom's been arrested.
I know. The police just called.
I can't keep paying the mortgage alone without her.
So what? Are you going to ask me for help again?
No. I mean...
Don't call me again. I said this and hung up abruptly. To prevent any further calls from Tom, I blocked his number and messages. A month later, a coworker told me this story. Hey, did you hear? I'm sorry if this is rude, but Tom quit the company. Tom and I worked at the same company, but I was in the office while he was in the field. We hardly saw each other, so this was the first I heard of it. Apparently, his mother's arrest for theft was the talk of the company, and he couldn't stay there any longer. Of course, I didn't spread any rumors. I have no idea what happened to him afterwards, but he's probably struggling to pay the mortgage by now. 3 years later, I got married once again. I met him outside of work, and he truly cherishes me. His parents also adore me, and I love them too. I think I've actually found true happiness. I hope nothing like what I experienced ever happens again.